Hi, Dr. Bo here. I'm going to discuss the curvatures in the spine. 30 to 40 degrees in this curve, 30, 40 degrees in the lumbar curve, and about the same thing for the thoracic curve. So forward, back, and then forward again. Those are the three curves, about 30 to 40 degrees each, and you don't want to have one curve and then have to make the other one larger. So if we flatten out the thoracic curve, then now you got to flatten out the cervical curve, you see? So you have to have each curve complementing the other. The lumbar curve, most people come in with too much bottom lumbar curvature, and then this is straight. So we try to adjust them here, work them here. If you crack the bottom over and over again, you're gonna make that take most of the curve. So you don't crack and loosen this lumbosacral region. Number one, it's why it tends to wear out, and everybody comes in with lumbosacral disc issues. You want to leave that alone, work up here, make this looser, and then you can get this to curve and take some of the curve, watch, away from the bottom and bring it up here. Don't have it straight in the diaphragm area and then over curved at the bottom. That's what my major goal is all day long. Work here, come in, get me to work on these vertebrae here, make them take more curvature. Watch this, watch how I do it. I take more curvature there, and I can take some away from the bottom. And the 2 points are still over top of each other the same. So I have this one bone is supposed to be over that bone in a nice shared curvature. Most people come in with this straight and this over curved, and that gives them the same resultant. These two spots are still over each other, but the curves are distributed wrong in the lumbar area. So you have to have the chiropractor like sculpt or contour these curvatures, and that's what we do, and that's why you have to come in and see us a couple times, not just once and see you later. If I could do it, I would do it. What they've discovered also is, and you heard me talk about it, is there's a picture of you in the brain, a little hologram of you, and that's what's distorted wrongly. So they found out that if you just do take it away from the bottom and move it up to the top, there we go, and then we let go, boink, it goes right back to the other way it was, straight and then over at the bottom. So you can't just have an adjuster or a chiropractor or a stretcher, physical therapist or whatever, flattening out the lower, putting more. That's what they should do. There you go. Okay, see you later, Mrs. Jones. Boink. It goes right back. What we found is that these muscles are receiving signals from the brain to tell them where to make the curvature happen. And that's called proprioception. So if you take a person, if I could do this, okay, here we go. Let's set them up to the wrong. So they're straight and over curved at the bottom. You see? That's what they come in with. That's the way their hologram currently looks. So if I could do this, flatten out the lumbar, put more in the upper lumbar. Okay, now I've got it the way I want. And then you take an activator or deliver a thrust. And when you deliver that thrust, it sends a signal up to the hologram saying, hold that new posture. And that's how this all works. Some chiropractors think that they're going to actually move that bone. If you do, it's only temporary because the muscles are going to put it right back to where it was, straight and over curved. So we want to deliver the thrust after we do the correction, hold it, now deliver a thrust, and the little hologram man up in your brain changes his XYZ coordinate structure. That's as simple as I can make it. I know it's more complicated than that, but that's as simple as I can make this. Same thing happens in the neck. They come in, the neck is straight like this, and that makes the lumbar spine, again, overarched because the head, with it straight, it's supposed to be like that. Now they come in with it straight. Now the ear went forward, so now the ear needs to be brought back, so they overarch the low back to bring the ear back. So what I have to do is I have to find a way to induce the curvature, you see? And bring the thoracic curvature back like that, and then use an activator or deliver a thrust to the spine, and the cerebellum hologram changes his XYZ programming. He's programmed, there's not a person up there, but in the cerebellum, the XYZ coordinates of all the joints coming in from the nociceptors, not the nociceptors, the proprioceptors. Nociceptors are pain fibers, but they come up through the proprioceptors to the cerebellum, and it knows. So you move it and you hold it. And then you can hold the person like that. You can bring the head back and hold it, and then have somebody deliver a thrust with the drop table. Boom, boom, boom. And for some reason, when you put a thrust in, and that's probably how we lost our alignment. We were coming down the sliding board, and when we hit the ground, and we were forward like that. We boom, hit the ground. And the same way the hologram got unprogrammed, we got hit. We hit the ground with our booty, and our head was forward. So the XYZ coordinate in the hologram learned this posture. So now we do this a little bit more. We usually go mirror image. Mirror image means as far as you were forward, we try to bring you backward, and then you can deliver a thrust at that point. You don't want to put a patient with their head forward and then, do the adjustment, because then they're going to say, oh, thanks a lot, doc. I feel a lot better now, and that's why sometimes the joints hurt a little bit. If I take a patient who comes in forward and I put their head back and then I give them a thrust, give the adjustment, the cerebellum changes to that. And now that's a better correction. The ear is over the shoulder better. But it might actually be a little bit more uncomfortable. How about that? If I overfold these facets that had a lot of pain fibers, and it may feel a little worse. The patient says, I'm not, doc, I feel a little worse after the adjustment. Well, we corrected your posture. The reason why you fell off the swing and butt your head forward is because you said, that feels better, or got in the auto accident and then put your head down. I remember a wrestling injury in junior high. A guy fell on top of me when I was in a back bridge. You see, I was in a back bridge, right? You know what the back bridge is in wrestling. And a guy fell on top of me. Did I go into the hospital like this? Or did I go into the hospital like that? I couldn't lift my head. I remember for hours I waited in the waiting room, and then he came out with a collar, and he put the collar under my chin, and I went, oh, that feels so good. You see? So the reason why we do these bad postures is because it feels better. It hurt. There's no pain fibers in the front. We can squeeze the discs all day long with no pain until it ruptures and hits the nerve or hits the spinal cord. Then you get a nerve signal, but the actual disc itself or the vertebrae itself, it doesn't have much feeling. So you have this forward posture after an injury, or you go home and sit in your lazy boy chair, and that's what I was telling this young fellow today. Don't go home after your exercises and your football and sit in a lazy boy chair, and that's what you do. There's a videotape called with the football players. What is it called? Unsung Heroes or something like that. And it's about football players that have, their bodies are no good. They've injured themselves. They spent their whole career in 5-6 years by playing football. The spine is useless and their life is gone. They can't even pick up their kids. So that's why we don't do contact sports, is because contact sports are exactly the bad or the worst scenario. You're going to be in a bad posture, and you're going to slam in this and have these thrusts. So by the time you finish a football season, your posture is all cattywampus. So you go into the chiropractor, what's he do? He tries to put it back before damage occurs in the front of the spine. All right. Thank you very much. Like and subscribe.